Hello and welcome from northern Poland. This is the Jeziorach Lake in the western part of the Mazurian Lake District, and I've just spent the day out sailing, which is very pleasant. And there's a bit of a wake here at the moment, so that's why the camera may be moving up and down quite a lot, and you can hear it in the background. Having said that, I'm not going to talk today about sailing. I'm going to talk about instead Caravan Salon, and despite the fact that I mentioned in previous videos that the major players won't be being there, there's still going to be a lot of companies present, and there's also an extra day to visit, so they've extended it by 1 day. They've set a total maximum amount of visitors per day at 20,000, so that means they're going to a maximum of 200,000 people can actually go there. If you want to go there, you've got to register now electronically. No tickets will be available at the gate, so to speak. And anyway, so you don't really want to look at me, although you might want to have a look at this nice lake around me. But what we can do now is I'll put a bit of film up, and I'll show you, I'll tell you rather, a little bit more about what is happening. So here's a bit of video from the past, a blast from the past. But this year we have to bear in mind that some of the manufacturers will not be present, so you won't be having such a great selection of vehicles, but nonetheless I think it's going to be an exciting place to be. We've got an extra day, so it's going to start on the 4th of September, which is a Friday, and so it'll be like 2 long weekends, so to speak. And this will of course mean that more people can get in, particularly as they have reduced the numbers. There are more than 300 exhibitors at the moment. Could even be people come in at the last moment. Of course, we also have to bear in mind that people could drop out if there's any upturn in the numbers of COVID-19. So we've got manufacturers across the board. Another interesting thing is that Hall 1, which was under construction I believe last year, is now open to visitors, and this of course means that the organisers can increase the floor space, but at the same time as increasing the floor space, this is a trick that some trade fairs do to whenever a trade fair which is dying, so they make the aisles bigger. But in this case they've made it quite clear why they're doing it. It's to make sure that there's more space for social distancing, and indeed they are introducing a number of measures so that people will keep 1.5 meters away from each other. And they say, and I quote, "Our hygiene and infection protection standards ensure that the safety and health of our exhibitors, visitors, partners and members of staff are protected in the best possible way." Well, that was those are the words of Wolfram Diener, who is the CEO of Messe Düsseldorf. Other things which are going to take place, and I think this is pretty obvious, the face masks is compulsory throughout the fairgrounds. Another thing, obviously, they're putting hand sanitizers available everywhere, and I hope that these hand sanitizers are actually going to work, because in my experience, admittedly this is just in Poland, but something like 30% of them have either got no sanitizer in them or they don't work at all. Indeed, I was at the doctor's yesterday, and at the doctor's it wasn't working through lack of sanitizer in the distribution device. Now, Düsseldorf, the distribution of persons across the halls and the observance of minimum distances will be surveyed by video systems, and an increased number of staff. On top of this, the maximum number of visitors will be limited to 20,000 per day, so the 200,000 square meters. Well, in theory that sounds very good. but in practice it may be slightly different. Now is another quote. "The interest taken in recreational vehicles, accessories and services has been enormous for years and has not ceased during the corona crisis either. Quite the contrary, we've seen that the popularity of caravanning as a form of vacationing is growing, especially in the current situation, and is attracting many new customers." And those are the words of Daniel Ongavaso, who's the general manager of the caravanning industry Verbans, which is the Caravanning Industry Association. Motorhomes and caravans are above all emotional products. Potential customers want to see, touch the vehicles before buying them, and let's face it, this doesn't work digitally. And as much as I'd like to say it works on a YouTube channel like mine, I do appreciate that you really want to see the thing. You don't really want to just see it on a video. Although I hope that the video does give you some assistance when it comes to making purchasing decisions. So it's a persuasive power. It's a real display, and you can really choose what you like the best. Having said that though, one problem: you choose what you like the best, there's going to be a long waiting time. But I think I'm going to have to deal with that more in a different video. Now, I've mentioned in the past the companies which are not going to be there. Most of all, Heimer Group, which accounts for a number of manufacturers. None of those manufacturers are going to be present. I've also mentioned those companies that will be present, and as I said earlier, there are more than 300 companies which have so far said they're going to be there. So despite the changed conditions, we can expect a vast diversity of products, and hopefully this will mean it's an interesting visit. And of course, I'm going to get my videos up as soon as I can, so if you're coming a bit later, you can decide if you want to come or not. So there will, of course, as always, be technical innovations and product news. Maybe I'm going to suspect. I suspect maybe a bit less this year. People have had less time to think about it, and they mightn't actually want to bring out new products if they feel they've got a technical innovation. I mean, it does stand to reason that they might want to actually delay it, and there's two reasons for delaying it. One is to make sure they can actually produce the thing effectively in Corona times, to use the German word, and the second thing is when there's going to be such a backlog. People were waiting a really long time to get their vans. Do they really then want to make it even more difficult for them to make a decision? On the other hand, I think we'll see trends continue, such as making vehicles more convenient, that is to say user-friendly, that is to say that people like me who would go into a van and with a certain amount of experience complaining about it not reflecting a life experience. And maybe I think I've seen a trend over the past few years that goes towards making things more realistic, practical for normal users. Another thing I'm going to say is there's been a slight trend which I've noticed has been within interior design, soft colour schemes, modern lighting, and the idea of creating a feel-good atmosphere. Indeed, Bürstner has actually used this word in their own marketing. But I think across all manufacturers are thinking of this. In the motorhome segment, compact models are especially popular as they appeal to, I should say, the more practical target set, and obviously it's much easier to handle. A smaller van gives you more agility and comparatively lower price, but at the end of the day, prices do depend on the banks financing these vehicles. So, the Caravan Salon, as I said, it's going to be held in a number of halls. So we've got halls 1, 4, 9 to 12, as well as 16 displaying caravans and motorhomes, vans, camper vans, as they hall 15, premium sector is also going to be in Hall 15. And there will be obviously the same place as usual for the campsites and other equipment I should say. So I hope you find that of interest. One thing you can do, incidentally, there is a campsite, and you can now actually order that online. It's been up now for a couple of weeks or so. And I think that staying at the campsite is great. Now, there is one slight problem, well, not slight problem, it's a big problem for many people. It's the noise. At 6 o'clock in the morning, the planes start flying in. Now, obviously, I get up at 5, so it doesn't bother me. But if you're looking for a lie-in, then it may not be the place to be. Having said that, there's another campsite. It's only about 3 kilometers further north of the site. I can't remember what it's called now, but you'll find it anywhere online. I think I've even got photographs and a film of it on my website. Now, if you're thinking of going, now the cost for a one-day ticket is €13, and for adults and children pay €5, and students can get it on Caravan Salon club members get in for €10. That's a day. Do bear in mind, I did say this earlier, but please do bear in mind that that there is no tickets on the door. You've got to buy it online up front. And one interesting thing for those of you who live in the area is that the ticket actually includes rail travel on the Rhine-Ruhr Transport Authority. That's the VRR network, and so really that would considerably bring the cost down, particularly given how expensive German railways are. Okay, right, thanks very much for listening to me, and I hope you find that of interest. And I'll be at Caravan Salon. If you see me, do say something, unless I'm sort of filming, in which case could you please wait until I finish. But other than that, if you see me, do say something. It's very nice. I'm going to have a chat. And so, all the best. I'm now in Poland, but I shall be making my way there. Thanks for listening.